What is up, Pit Boss Nation? Chef Shaun O'Neal, winner of MasterChef Season 7 and the author of the cookbook My Modern American Table, and I'm back for some more platinum grilling. Today we're working on one of my favorite ingredients. We're doing some roasted bone marrow. It's a hit at every restaurant and every pop-up, at every event that I've ever done. I know it sounds a little strange, but bone marrow is absolutely delicious. So today I'm actually doing a little spin on a recipe that we're doing at my brand new restaurant here in Arizona, 333. It's Asian inspired fine dining, and we're bringing bone marrow to the table. So let's get started. First thing we need to do is get our grill set to 425, and we're gonna go ahead and get our fruit wood pellets in. The fruit blend is perfect for this recipe. Let's get some pellets loaded up. All right, now that our grill is loaded up, set to the right temperature, and ready to rock and roll, let's get started on our bone marrow. So one of the sauces that we do for our bone marrow is gonna be a scallion sauce, kind of an Asian style scallion sauce. So one thing we need to do is heat up some vegetable oil. So you can do this inside on your stovetop. Since we've got the grill rolling, we're just gonna do this right out here. I've got about 1/4 of a cup to 1/2 a cup of vegetable oil. We're just gonna set this right over the fire. Make sure you are using your heat-proof glove for this. We want to heat this up until it's just about smoking, and then we'll continue making our scallion ginger sauce. All right, so while our oil is heating up for our scallion ginger sauce, we're going to go ahead and get started on our bone marrow. This is very similar to the recipe that we're using in my new restaurant, 333. I've already made our tamarind glaze. This is a beautiful, beautiful glaze. You can find tamarind online, again, at specialty markets. So we're gonna go ahead and glaze these bone marrow bones with our tamarind glaze. You wanna try to kind of blot it in to kind of get a little bit of thickness there. The marrow is somewhat slippery, right? It's the inside of a bone, so it's gonna have a little bit of a slick texture. So you kind of wanna blot it down so you can get a little bit of a pool of that tamarind glaze on there. So we're gonna do this with all 3 of our marrow bones here. By the way, marrow bones are femur bones, and if you are going to find them, you're going to want to go to your butcher shop, and you're going to want to ask for a canoe cut style marrow bone, and that's what you see here. It's a canoe cut. It's basically done lengthwise through the bone, and it's great for presentation. But if you can only find the little marrow bones, you know, the little circular marrow bones that all grocery stores have, by all means, do it. Do it with this recipe. It will be just as delicious. You know, just won't have that presentation aspect that we love to see with bone marrow, right? It's impressive to see a bone come into a table or a bone sitting around a family spread. So we've got our glaze on there. One of my favorite seasonings. This one's simple, to the point, smoky salt and cracked black pepper. It is absolutely delicious. I use it all the time. It is my go-to in my kitchen. So we will sprinkle a little bit of this on here. Again, a little goes a long way with seasoning, so be somewhat restraint when you're seasoning with especially the smoky salt and cracked black pepper, because it is a very, very strong flavor. Delicious, but you want to make sure that you don't overpower the marrow bones and the tamarind and everything else that we've got going on here. All right, earlier I was working on something else that I only needed the bottom grate, the actual grilling grate. So I removed the top 2 racks and put them on the amazing rack hanger that is on all Pit Boss 1250 Platinum grills. It is amazing for storage and keeps your racks nice and clean, nice and dry, and out of the way. So let's grab our second rack. All right, so we're gonna place these marrow bones on the second rack here. This is a roasting recipe, so we're showing another aspect of the grilling processes that is possible with the Pit Boss Platinum 1250. It's really an outdoor kitchen all in one. So let's add our marrow bones to the grill. We're gonna set these off to the side of the heat. We're gonna let them cook for a little while. If we need to move them into a stronger heat source, we will. But again, we are roasting these bones, not direct high heat. All right, so we have our oil on, it's heating up. We need it nice and hot because it's essentially gonna cook the scallions and the ginger that are in this sauce. So we're gonna add our ginger to our bowl of scallions here. You know, in the restaurant, we take this a step further and we actually char the scallions off on the grill before making this, but I wanted to streamline the process for you guys and make it as easy as possible. So let's go ahead and grab our vegetable oil. This is a very, very common technique in Asia for making sauces. Basically pouring hot oil over maybe dried chilies, scallions, whatever it may be. And you'll get that nice sizzling and bubbling that tells you that it's actually cooking those scallions and cooking that ginger. So we'll give that a little stir. Now we're gonna season this with a couple things that you wouldn't maybe think of as seasoning. So we're gonna add a little bit of rice wine vinegar, just a touch to bring in a little bit of acidity, and then a little bit of sesame oil. Now, we all know that sesame oil is a base flavor for a lot of the Asian recipes, and this one's no different. So it brings in a little toastiness, a little sesame, and a little nuttiness, and really adds a great flavor. So I forgot a fork, but what happens when you're outside cooking in the beautiful, great Arizona weather? Just use the backside of your brush that you've been using all day. So we'll get this nice and stirred up. You can see it kind of created this beautiful, slightly softened scallion sauce. And then we're gonna season this with our Pit Boss smoky salt and cracked black pepper, bring in a little bit more smokiness into this dish, kind of replicate what I do in the restaurant where I actually char the scallions. There we go. Give that another little mix. And we will set this aside until our bone marrow is ready. Our bone marrow is cooking nicely on the grill. Now we're gonna grill up some sourdough bread. This works really well with sourdough bread. It gets nice and crispy on the grill, get a little bit of that char flavor. So we're just gonna brush this with a little bit of olive oil just to help it get that nice grill mark and get nice and crispy while it's cooking. So just a little bit of olive oil on both sides, and then we're gonna get it right on the grill. All right, our bread is brushed with olive oil. Let's throw it on to get it nice and crispy. Our marrow has been on for probably about 15 minutes now, so it's time to go ahead and plate it up while our bread finishes up cooking. So you can grab it with tongs, but if you've got a nice hot glove, go ahead and grab your marrow bones with your hands. It's just the easiest way to control the bone. Right. And we're going to set it right here on our plate covered in Pit Boss pellets. 2 and 3 marrow bones we have. All right, we'll go ahead and check our bread while we're in there. We'll give that another couple minutes while I finish garnishing up our bone marrow dish. Like I said, this is a spin on a dish that I do at my restaurant 333, opening sometime late summer, early fall, so come check us out. But we're gonna garnish this up with some of our garnishes that we use. There's a couple missing. We do a nice crispy ginger and garlic where we grate the ginger and garlic really fine, and then fry it at a low temperature so it gets really light and airy, crispy, almost like a tempura, but it's the crispy ginger and garlic. So we do have our pickled shallots. So our pickled shallots will go down first. Not a lot. We just want to use a little bit to kind of break up through that fat of the bone marrow, and just kind of spread it along the bone, on each bone, making sure, take your time, get it nice and even. This will really, it will really benefit the way it eats, right? Bone marrow is very fatty, very unctuous, very rich. So you need a little bit of acid to kind of break it up. That's what the tamarind did. That was kind of our first level of taming down the richness of the bone marrow. Second, we're going to bring in some vegetable flavor, right? Some earthiness, and that's going to be our scallion sauce here. You don't want a lot of the oil, so kind of try to drain it off. The oil was really just to cook it and bring the flavors all together. We'll spread this out along the length of our bone. Probably about a tablespoon of the sauce on each bone. All right, like I said, this is a recipe that we're doing in the restaurant, so I do have one ingredient that may be a little tricky for you to find, but if you can, by all means do it. But you could use, again, micro cilantro, any microgreen that you can find. A lot of grocery stores are starting to carry them. It's a very, very high in vitamins. The baby produce or baby herbs have a lot of vitamins and things like that in them. So the smaller they are, the more beneficial they are for your health. So we'll just put down our micro wasabi right along our bones here. And then in the restaurant, we also have a couple beautiful little flowers that we place in here. And then, like I said, that crispy ginger and garlic that we use for a lot of our dishes. Just a nice crispy topping that really ties everything together. All right, there we go. There is our bone marrow. Now we just got to grab our bread. Alright guys, there is our crispy sourdough. Don't mind the little char around the edge. To me, that is the best parts. Now, if you got completely black, then that's a problem. But a little bit of char, those are the absolute best bites. So here we go guys. This is our roasted tamarind bone marrow from my new restaurant, 333. It's an amazing recipe. Get outside your comfort zone, give it a try. You can find this recipe and so many more at www.pitboss-grills.com. And I'll see you next time for some more platinum grilling. Let's dive into this. So you basically use the marrow as kind of a dip, if you will. You just kind of scrape it out right onto some crusty bread, nicely grilled on the Pit Boss Platinum 1250. Give that a nice smear. So good. That is delicious.